So, your name again, sorry?
Jamie.
Jamie, Clint. Okay, so this is a new tap timer. It's what, only a year old, or?
No, it's been out. It's
2 years
probably
old?
a couple of years old. Yep. Rated to about 870 kPa.
Which is important nowadays. Obviously, a lot of the competitors are in that 600,
Very
650
much.
bracket, which is a concern.
Yeah. A lot of inner city suburbs have higher pressure than the outer suburbs these days. Obviously, the network, obviously the spread, etc., etc. So, well, the key features, I suppose, is we've stuck with the dial base, which contractors and end users find really, really handy.
Because it's big, it's easy to touch. You can read it.
It's easy to touch. With the buttons, I suppose, with the button operated, the competitors, that's when they get a little bit fiddly, and you've got to be able to see the display. Where at least here you can turn it.
Well, that
to,
number's massive as well, and it doesn't. It's not that this is too big.
No,
it's just it's all screen.
No, exactly right. So you got your dial base, which will change your different or get you to your different parameters. And then obviously you use your buttons to then change your selections of what you want.
And do you have to press enter, or does it just save?
No, once you select, and if you change the dial, it'll remember that setting you've had. So you don't have to confirm it or anything like that.
I think that's something that was probably done a lot back in the day. You know, I don't know if it was an orbit controller. You know, the old slide controls, like you had to press enter or didn't remember it.
You had to confirm everything. Exactly right. Other than that, it's just a simple dirty battery operated timer. 2 start times per day.
What's the warranty on it?
12 months on this one. I think it's our only 12-month warranty
because everything
product.
else is kind of 3 and 5.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
It's probably hard. I mean, I think we retail this for say 89 or thereabouts, and you kind of can't.
Well, the hardest thing is it's the conditions, right?
Yeah.
And you tend to find these get put into the worst conditions.
Yep. And they're being looked after by people that care the least. Yeah.
You know, it's hard to warranty something.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's such a consumer product.
But it's a gap in the market that you guys saw. And it enables us to do a complete Rainbird offering, I think, as well. Like, you know, if they're buying the R-bands and they're buying the bodies and they don't want to buy a controller and a valve or a WPX, then at least they've got something that they can do.
Yeah, I suppose the only other thing I'll mention on that one is we have the ESP, right? So our ESP is extra simple programming. Okay. And that's across...
Not extra sensory.
No, it's extra simple programming.
Yep.
And we carry that through our entire range.
So this program's like that, or it's not? They're different.
It's different, but it's still simple.
Yep.
So just to keep it as easy as possible for the end user.
Contractors
Contractors don't necessarily like it.
Yep.
But the end user finds it a lot simpler to understand.
I get that, because we sell a lot of these. I mean, this is my favourite controller, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for this one.
It's a good controller.
So people will come in. It's like when someone was trying to get us to buy the HV valves, and we sell DVFs hand over fist. Like, I'm like, why would you bring in a HV when we're selling DVs quite well? And it was the same with this. We were selling so many of these to contractors, and they become so used to them. We've still got them. Yep. But I just don't think we need to fill a contractor market with these.
I think listening to the consumer, though, there was gaps in our range.
Definitely, and that was one of them. This was definitely one of them.
This is definitely one of them. Everyone's got the gap there.
Yeah, true. And that gap's still so big.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
And I mean, that's where it brings us into the WPX, you know. I mean, the competitor's product's so good and has been around for so long.
Yeah. And this took a long time. Like, you guys were doing research and contractor days, more research.
Well, I've been at Rainbird for almost 3 years, and I saw...
You were told about it when you started?
Beta models of these, and it still took another 2.5 years before we even got an end
And there was 2 different versions available at the time, I reckon.
That just slides down.
It slides down. It's got arrows on it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So this is obviously a bigger... what's it, 2-station? No,
that's a single station. So you've got single...
because you've got this panel here. So I'm only used to seeing...
So that's a wall mount, right?
I'm used to seeing that.
Yeah.
Is that an extra part?
Yes.
So you have to buy it as a separate crate if you want it?
You have to buy it as a separate part. That's if you're going to mount it outside or above ground.
Okay, so that one of your competitors has obviously a wall mount bracket that's definitely not as purpose built for that. So that's obviously something that puts it ahead of some of your competitors.
Yeah, there's a few extra features. I think what we've learned from the nearest competitor is the end user tends to struggle with the programming of it. So it's not intuitive.
The brain of it.
Yeah, so when you're working through your menu structures, find the other one, you have to jump from here to there and understand
remember what
symbols.
You've done as well, yeah.
And then you have to remember what you've done. So with this guy, it's just a simple mode, mode.
So bigger screen, more in the screen.
And all your schedule information is in one screen.
Yep.
And then you've only got
so your days are still there, and then
everything's there. So your run time, your start
so you're doing
times,
it by
and your
days,
run
not
days.
odds and evens. And obviously, it has all those odds and evens.
Odds, evens, Sicily,
any water restrictions,
and then custom days.
Yep.
Yeah. Comes in singles, 2s, 4s, and 6.
Yep. See, that's good.
Everything above the single comes with its a dedicated master valve option as well.
And isn't hardwired. They all need to be wired when you go into this.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So the single you can buy with the DVF and the DC or the T-Boss DC coil. Okay, and it's all pre-wired.
Yep.
But then once you get to your 2s, 4s, and 6s, you build it the way you want. Because some people might buy 4, but only want 2, 3 valves.
Yeah. It makes sense. And obviously, the other thing, I mean, I guess aside from all that, your valves, the coil of them is a really advanced coil.
Yeah.
So even if they don't love,
it's a commercial grade coil.
You know,
the thread it's larger. Yep. There's more grit on it or more bite for it.
Is there a filter in it? Is there
a filter? Yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah. And if it's a DVF, it's a reverse flow valve.
Exactly right. So it fails
some people might not think of using this because of the controller side of things, but I guess they haven't thought about maybe the valve side of things.
100%.
When you put them together. So
100%.
9-volt batteries. 1, 2.
Dual.
Can you use one?
You can use one.
So it just doesn't last as long.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that a lot of people have noticed is our battery's just on the side.
Yep.
And I always do that.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
I think you do that in your video, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
So
maybe you got your dual seal.
A product development, put a little cable on there.
Yeah. So dual seal, one in the top.
Yeah.
And then you've got your O-ring there as well.
That's crazy because it's not just an O-ring. That's a seal.
That's a seal.
So this is waterproof to what, 3 meters or something? Are they submerged?
I think it's a meter.
Okay.
IP68's a meter.
Yep, so that's enough.
And if you go down to the innovations section, you'll see it sitting in a fish tank.
Yep.
You know,
so there's like another area here.
The other advantage to that is the nearest competitor, you've got to take the whole faceplate off.
Yeah.
That O-ring, as soon as you get dirt, grit, or anything like that in it, that's when you're going to start getting
this is
failure.
such a smaller thread, isn't it?
It's smaller, exactly right.
Okay, so 9 volts, 1, 2, 4, 6 station.
Single program screen.
Yep.
The other one is the manual water too. So that's really program,
easy.
right? Hit your manual water. Now, if you had more than one station, you just hit your plus and you can go to your station to
And then can you adjust them up and down each one?
Individually, or you can run all of them.
Yep.
And then you can do it via schedule as well.
So you can do manual all stations and it just runs what your schedule was previously?
Exactly.
Or you can do manual test 2 minute, 2 minute, 2 minute,
Exactly
2 minute.
right.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, that's cool. There's no remote or anything for it yet, is there? There's nothing like
that.
No,
look, personally, I would expect the next development of that would be Bluetooth.
Yeah, connectivity makes sense.
A lot of people go, "Oh, Wi-Fi." What? Well,
you got to remember
when you're using a battery operated controller, normally you're in a remote location in your garden where Wi-Fi is probably not going to be a strength.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, no one's going to go put a SIM card in a
exactly
battery.
right.
Well, not no one. But
the wall mount also allows you to mount your
This is cool actually because the wall mount actually looks like a controller.
It looks like
neat.
A controller, exactly.
Obviously,
right.
being what did you say? IP67.
IP68.
68,
which is the highest rating.
Yep. So that can sit out in the sun all day long. It's going to be UV stable.
UV stabilised plastics, like a whole range is.
Yep. Cool.
So you won't get that,
So that's the WPX. So then moving up the wall, we've got the ESP RZXE. And what's the E? That refers to the Wi-Fi connectivity? Or?
It does now, yes.
Yep.
It was just a way to distinguish. So you'll see the old Model 1 won't have the E and it won't have the link ready indicator.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously with the ME, we can update just the panel if you've got an older model.
Yeah, which we've done a few
but
of
obviously
for those
these ones.
November 16, I remember the date.
Exactly right. So Wi-Fi goes in there, so it's Wi-Fi ready, and then you buy the link module. Yeah, there's a link module in there.
Can I take it out?
Yeah.
I'll go around and trash everyone's stands. So that's the link module that he's referring to. So that's what makes a controller Wi-Fi compatible.
Yeah.
Which is cool because if you don't want to spend the money on a Wi-Fi controller, and a lot of the competitors have really expensive Wi-Fi controllers, you can buy this controller and then buy that later.
And then upgrade it later.
Yeah. And
the other thing too is from a contractor point of view, is even if they don't have access to the Wi-Fi, they can just go to the traditional clock on the wall and operate it.
And I think, I don't know I'm going to guess you can probably insert the price underneath, but they're pretty inexpensive really for what you get in this controller without that. Even when you do that.
Under retail,
I think a
both
4 station
together,
would be
probably less than 280.
Oh, easy. I'm thinking, mate,
Probably 250, something like that.
I'm sure they'll find it on waterpro.com.au.
Yeah.
Right hook. While
So the RZXE comes in fixed 4, 6 and 8 stations.
Yep.
Okay. Master valve. And then you can also do, go for it. You can also do pump start via relay.
Yep.
Again, really, it's really focused on the end user. This
Someone
controller.
said to me it's like programming a VCR. Like, it just makes sense. Like, for he wouldn't know what a VCR is, but you know, you know what I mean. Like, you just follow the steps.
Right? So zone-based versus program-based.
Yep.
Okay, so traditional program A, B, C, and D, and then we allocate valves into those programs.
Yep.
This guy is zone-based, and what we effectively do is build a program for each solenoid valve or each zone.
And then you tie that to the valve.
Exactly right, and then you tie that to the area that you're watering. And again, you hit your schedule button, and all the information's on the one screen. So you don't have to jump from menu to menu
and go,
or change dial positions. And then remember, oh, am I on A, am I on B, am I on C? It gets confusing for the end user. Not so much people that have been in the industry for a long time, but those guys that are using it 4 months of the year, they forget. This one makes it a lot simpler.
And it's, it's very cost competitive, it's easy to use. The Wi-Fi compatibility is there, so I guess for homeowners that are in their retirement years that are travelling, they can monitor their irrigation while they're away, and it's not brain surgery.
100%. The only two is 6 start times.
Now
that's
across
a lot. 4 zones, 6 start times. That's 24 different combinations you could run.
And an 8-station controller these days is going to cover most houses. Obviously, the majority of these that we sell are in the 4-station bracket, but you know, 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Everything. A lot of townhouse type stuff happening. It is a really. The only two is it's still a pretty rugged controller. Still UV stabilised. It still comes with the Rainbird, 3-year warranty. It's as robust as you can get at that entry level point.
And I guess from a dealer point of view, we don't get them back. And if we ever have any warranty issues with anything Rainbird, just deal with it. Like, it's not, what did he do? You know, we need the life story. It's just like, yeah, cool. Like,
we pride ourselves on no worry warranty. So we don't. If you believe it's a warranty issue, then we trust you.
And that's not just like, I guess for people watching, that's just not the kind of like sales rep bullshit. We've had that, and it's like there's been issues where it's probably been out of warranty or the contractor did something wrong, and Rainbird have just gone, look, in the interest of the brand and the client being happy, just give them a new controller and we'll move forward.
100%.
All right. So for people that this doesn't kind of cover, and if they've got maybe more stations or whatever, they're going to. I guess the next step up from the ESP RZXE is the ESP ME.
Then we go to our modular range, which starts at a base 4 stations and is expandable up to 22 stations. And you can expand it in. You can expand it in 3-station increments or 6-station increments.
So they're a module that you buy. So you buy this off the shelf, 4-station controller. You've just started building your house. You've got that there, and then all of a sudden you're going to start landscaping. It's a big block. You want to start adding valves.
Exactly.
You don't need to buy the module straight away. So you'll plug in a 3-station or a 6-station module, which will be in here, and they slot in, lock down. And then, so this is something that probably for people watching, if you put a new module in, you need to reset the controller. Or is that not the case for you guys?
No, not at all.
Because I know with Hunter they recommend resetting. It just takes it. It's cool.
It'll just read that you've expanded the system.
So it's got
and then in the Wi-Fi, if you don't use all the stations, you can just turn them off. So you don't then end up.
So you don't have this electricity just being buzzed out to nothing.
No. So let's say you've got a 8-station, but you expand it to 10. You can turn off stations 9 and 10, so the end user doesn't put time into those stations.
And they're not even seeing them on their app.
They don't even see them on the app. Exactly right. So there's the other one too is both of these ranges have contractor default save, non-volatile memory. So again, you don't need a battery backup anymore. All the battery does these days
is pulling a tab.
It's just time and date.
The battery's here, isn't it?
So, and the other thing too is you can put a battery in this and program that away from site.
But I think, that was a really big feature that I used to sell to people. You're good. That was a big. I thought I heard beeping. That was a big feature I used to sell to people. Like, you can remove this faceplate and go sit down with it and program it. But obviously, with the introduction of Wi-Fi, it's not really as big a deal unless you don't have the Wi-Fi.
I'll put it this way: it is easier to program a modular controller or a program-based controller in the app than it is actually to step through it.
It's just different. I mean, these screens are so simple still. Like, they're not. You know, you got a mobile phone, color screen, and it's bigger, and you can take photos of the area.
It's all on one. It's a bit like this, right? It's all on one display, and you can step through. Okay, I need to select my days.
Yep.
Then I need to select the start time,
and just follow
and then I need to put a runtime in. And the app will actually show you if you haven't got that in there, it'll have that little red indicator and say, I haven't got a start time.
So it's almost like filling out a form when you're trying to apply for a loan
versus
or whatever. It'll say you haven't put this information in, we
can't
keep going.
And getting confused between start times and run times.
Yep.
And that's the most common thing we would get in our industry. The other thing too is then remembering to change it from program A, B, C. Yeah. Those, you're just taking out that
that's one of the biggest
one
I think that catches people out, especially with a 4-station controller.
For sure.
That you've got 4 start times, 4 programs, and they've gone and programmed, especially I don't know if it's the X core, it's like program 1, 2, 3 and 4 and start time 1, 2, 3 and 4, so people get confused. Obviously having A, B, C and D 100%. Makes it a bit easier. But
100%. There's some hidden features on there that the end user might not. So if you've got a pump system, you can put a delay between valves.
Yep.
So if you've got a big zone and you don't want to run your pump into low flow shutdown or anything like that, put that delay in, let your valve shut down, because we all know valves don't just go bang.
Yeah.
It takes some time to shut down the bigger zones, things
down,
like that. Again, contractor defaults, you can save it, customer plays with it, you can come back, hit a few buttons and away you go.
Yep. And is that covered by the trade warranty? Or it's really the trade warranties if a tradesperson puts it in?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yep, cool.
What else? Individual sensor on
you look
off.
at that, like that's the additional shit there.
Yeah, exactly right.
Obviously, you've got your standard programming stuff, and then it's kind of just.
And really, that's how this is designed to work, right? Is to step through.
Yep.
Blue process. Is all your programming.
So they're the necessities.
They're the necessities.
And they're the options.
Exactly right. 100%.
Yeah, cool.
100%.
So that's probably most of that. Obviously, you can put a Wi-Fi module in there if you need to.
Yep.
Put a battery in there if you want to program it from your lounge.
And as I said, the battery's really just maintaining time and day.
Yep.
The actual program itself will be there for 100 years.
Okay.
And that's
the residential, like commercial range of, I guess, control operations.
Yes.
And then obviously we step into commercial.
We do.
We'll have a quick look at these, but I don't know if they're for everyone.
All right. So you've got your 2 options.
So the ME versus the D.
Okay. So the ME is traditionally wide.
Yep.
And your D is decoder based.
Yep.
Okay. Decoder based becoming very popular. Anything over about 25, 28 stations, that's when you really should start looking at decoder.
Yep. So a decoder for someone who doesn't know.
Yeah. So decoder is a 2-wire, works off a 2-wire path, and then we have individual decoders at each valve with its own unique address.
Yep.
So it sends 0s and 1s out to the field, and then that decoder will react off its address.
So the advantage of that is you're only running 2 wires.
Exactly. You've got less wire in the ground. You can run further. You can also run more stations at once.
Yep.
It just gives you greater flexibility, effectively. It also, even just expanding the system, you can just extend your 2-wire path.
Yeah, I know for a lot of subdivisions now they'll have that kind of like the bigger cable.
It's a lot of stage.
And there'll be like a kilometre in, and then they've still got enough to do 2Ks of subdivision and run it off of what, 99? Yeah. How many stations? Is it 50 base? So 50 base or 75 base?
50 base.
And then 75.
And then 75 build from there up to 200.
So module. No.
Yep. Yeah, and they just side by side.
Yep.
And then what you can do is, again, your actual dial setup is no different to our residential stuff. Yep. You just walk your way around.
It can't be much different, isn't it? It's I need to turn a valve on, I need to turn it on for this long, I need to turn it on at this time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Fundamentals are the same.
Yep.
Okay. Really, all we're doing here is then we can step up into your central controls.
Yeah, cool.
So you can plug your cartridge in.
A communications cartridge?
Communications cartridge, that's right. You've got 3G, 4G, you've got LAN, Wi-Fi.
What's this?
That's just an antenna, internal antenna.
Do they need that?
Majority of the time, no, but it comes with it. Yep. So always connect it up.
Why would you not put it on kind of thing?
Exactly right. Yep. Strength. It also, you can, if you are struggling with reception, we've got an external antenna option.
And so this is usually be mounted in a metal enclosure.
Yep.
You can bolt the external antenna to the side of that.
You can, yes.
Vandal-proof-ish?
Look, you would think so. You might put maybe a wire mesh over the top of it just to protect it. You know what kids are like these days. Yeah. They'll get to anything they possibly can. So, but other than that, fundamentally the same. You just got, it just allows you greater system flexibility. Yep. So simul stations increases, so 8 simul stations with this.
So you can turn 8 valves on at the same time?
8 valves on at the time.
Provided the water flows there to do it?
Yeah, exactly right. Yep. It's really your system capacity that dictates what you can and can't do.
So if this was a subdivision and you had I guess, short watering windows because
Yes.
you're only allowed to water 8 hours a day because it's recycled water or whatever it is, and it's at night.
Yep.
That's when that'd come in, and you could have.
Well, that's when we go into Flow Manager.
Yep.
So inbuilt Flow Manager. So you've got flow sensing, and then you've got Flow Manager.
Yep.
And I am struggling to think about that.
That's about it. He can edit. He can. You think
What
about
have
it.
I
He'll
got?
edit it out. We've got to get him to do something, otherwise we could have just stuck a camera on a tripod. Watch out behind you.
God, why can't we got? You've got Flow Manager. What's the other one?
I don't know. I just own an irrigation
Flow
shop.
Watch. So Flow
I don't
Watch.
know what I'm doing.
So Flow Watch will look at your highs and lows.
So there's Flow
of the,
Manager,
Yep.
Flow Watch. So these are the two
Flow Watch
related.
is your simple stuff, right? So that'll monitor your system.
Yep.
And then if there's a break or if you overflow or underflow, it'll shut the system down and
Yep.
then diagnose it.
Yep.
Send you an alarm and say, hey, zone 8's
So how does
got
that
an
alarm
issue.
get to you?
Well,
Like, is it?
if you haven't got a communications cartridge and
Yep.
you come to the controller, it'll tell you there's an alarm. So just like where the alarm
Okay.
light's on now, that's because there's no schedule.
Yeah. So this
programmed
isn't
into
ready.
that.
It's not ready. Yep.
It's not ready, right? Flow Manager, what that'll do is if you're running more than one station, so let's say you can run 4 stations at a time,
Yep.
it'll look at all your flows across the site
Yep.
and then couple the best flows together to stay under a certain flow rate.
So obviously you got 100, 100, 140, 60, 80 litres a minute.
Right.
It's not going to stick 200s together. It's going to stick the 60 and the 40 together and go, okay, they can operate because we've
Exactly
got
right.
over 100.
And you talk about watering window,
Yeah.
it will reduce that.
Yeah, okay. And
the
that just
best
does
way
it itself.
possible.
So it's intuitive enough
all
to go.
built in.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
cool. Because obviously a lot of, like, I guess the olden days, people are sitting down and actually working that out and then maybe wiring 2 wires together or,
Exactly.
not letting the controller
You don't
work.
have to do that. All you need to do is tell it, okay, my system capacity is 10 litres a second.
Yep.
Okay. And then what we do is with our flow sensor, we do a learn flow.
Yep.
So we learn each individual zone's
Okay,
flow.
now, yep. So there has to be a flow sensor in play.
Yeah, you have to have a
Which is
flow
easy.
sensor.
Let's put that in.
You can still do it
But
theoretically.
manually.
Yeah, you can do it manually.
Yep.
But ideally, you'd have a flow sensor, and then you can let the system
I think if
actually
you're going
do
to the
what
trouble
it's
of
going
doing
to do.
this, and I mean, these aren't controllers that are going in mum and dad's backyard. Like, this is council, municipal,
Exactly right. You would
local
put a flow
government.
sensor in every day.
You're going
of
to
the
put that in. You're going to
Yep.
put that in. You're going to put the decoders in. You're going to put.
You put a flow sensor in,
Yeah.
then you can start producing reports on water consumption,
Yep.
water usage, all
Which for,
different types.
if you were working for a council and it was your role to, I guess, be in charge of the irrigation, you can then go back to the people above you and go, look, we've invested $50,000 or $60,000 into this controller.
but
and
we've
all that.
reduced it by X.
Yeah, so in 2 years we've paid for it. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and instead of 8 hours of watering, we've got it down to 5.5 because
Okay.
we're more. And again, to water more efficiently, you want to water in as little amount of time
Yep.
as possible, right?
Yep.
And that comes down to system design.
Yep.
So it's not just control; it's also your main lines,
Well, if you've got a
laterals,
pump involved as well. Yeah.
pumps, everything.
Yep.
And again, it's not just putting the water out there; it's
Yep.
also energy as well, right?
Yeah, which
so
is honestly
power consumption.
most of the
all
golf courses that I go see,
getting more and
their
more
biggest
expensive.
concern is power because most of them have water security taken care of. They've got a bore or they've got,
Yep.
I guess, aquifer recharge or whatever
100%.
there is. It's like the solar or the power. So,
Exactly.
the club's always complaining about power, so that's obviously something that helps with that. And so the ME is just a traditional cable version of this.
Exactly right. So a little bit more reduced than this. That can run 8 simul stations. You can have up to 5 individual flow zones. So
Yep.
you can have, say, 5 different points of connection
Okay.
and monitor them separately.
Yep. So they'll
And
have
then-
flow sensors on each one.
Yep.
And then PE39 cable back to the controller, and it learns each one.
On this one,
Yeah.
you can just do a sensor
So-
decoder
Oh no shit.
on the 2-wire path. Yeah.
So okay.
This one needs the PE
Yeah, that makes sense.
39.
So what does the sensor decoder send the information back through? Not PE, send
the
it through
2-wire
multi-core?
on the 2-wire path.
So, on the decoder cable. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So again, you get greater flexibility when you go to the decoder system, where this one traditionally wide, you've got to run your PE39 back to this.
Yeah.
This one's also limited to only one
And
flow
obviously,
sensor.
it can only have enough electricity to open a certain number of valves because it's
Exactly right.
using the power rather than...
Yeah, exactly right. The other thing too is you get loss of
Yeah.
current.
And if you're running 50 stations, you've got a spool of cable that big, and if something goes wrong...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this one's it's 5 simul
50?
stations.
Yeah, okay. And they module out as well.
Yeah. So again, you can expand that in 8s and 12s.
Yep.
Up to 48 stations.
Yep.
Comes base 8.
Yep.
You can also, if you're not going to do flow sensing, you don't have to have the flow sensor module in there.
But I remember that used to be a thing where we'd buy an ESP ME LX or an LX MEF. They're all the same now, or are you still doing?
No, you can do it with the F or without. So without the F, it just doesn't have the flow sensing capability.
But it's not much different in price, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah, so I don't think we've always stocked the F just because. I mean, most of our client base.
Personally, if you're using this system or you're using this controller, obviously your system's large enough to justify going to this level.
Yep.
Okay. So to me, at that level, then you would do flow sensing.
Yeah.
One, for peace of mind, and two, you can monitor what's going on in your system.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that's
otherwise you might as well just put a basic controller in there and
come back to this.
And even true, because that gets you out to 22, doesn't
exactly
it?
Right.
Stick two of them next to each other.
Exactly right. And this one obviously takes your network cartridges as well.
So that's without and that's with. So that panel gets removed, and then you put in a cartridge.
Exactly right.
And they're all Telstra, or is
yes.
it? Yep. So they're always Telstra.
Only Telstra.
Yep. And they're pre-set. You just buy them off the shelf and stick them in. There's no.
Yeah, what'll happen is you'll get paperwork with it, fill out the paperwork, send it into our GSP department. First 12 months is free.
Yep.
And then after that, you'll get a notification.
Because I find a lot of times with some of the other brands, those cartridges have to be sent away to get programmed, and it's just...
No, same sort of thing. Even if you're doing a LAN cartridge, that is where we get the information prior.
Yep.
We set it up before we send it out to you. So you can just plug it, put the IP address in.
Yeah, and it's yours, so you're live straight away.
Effectively, when you connect to the cloud, really the most important number is that IP address. Yep. Once you put that into your cloud account and bring that satellite
then it knows
online,
it's yours.
It's a direct connect to that.
Some of the other companies require their guy to set it up, and it has to go somewhere else, and they have to type shit in.
I'll put it this way:
why would you want to do that?
If you get shown how to do one or two of these, you'll never have to ask the question.
Imagine buying a mobile phone and then they're like, "Yep, cool. So we're going to send it to America now. In 2 weeks, you'll be able to ring your friends."
Exactly right.
So okay, that's cool.
But that is one of our mantras, right? To make it as easy as possible for you.
Is this a company thing? Like Rainbird say, we want to make it easy. Reverse compatibility is important. Like I know there's a lot of stuff.
Reverse compatibility and extra simple.
Yeah.
We just try not to overcomplicate it.
Yep.
Because you know what? At the end of the day, we're still irrigating the same way we were 40 years ago.
Yeah, we're just bringing in technologies as they arise.
We're just updating it, but we still want to keep it as simple as possible.
Pretty good.
So it's a great range. You've got options for every conceivable irrigation project you'll run into.
Yeah, from homeowner
to
developer.
Consumer, right through to your commercial level.
Thanks for that, man.
Pleasure. Thanks, Clint.